One is starving, that you can, my friend Oda from Los Angeles says, yes, I cannot alleviate poverty and suffering, but I can feed someone today. And that brings us back to the now. There is only now, and we can fill someone's belly today. We can contribute in the only time frame we have, which is now. We can sit and listen to someone. Standing behind the chair for the last 30 years as I can sometimes contribute to someone who is suffering by perhaps saying something that may be comforting to them, where they walk out and they said, you know, Jenny, I feel better, and I thank you for that. So all of us have a way of contributing to each other in circumstances where everyone suffers at one moment or the other. But when we're in our private moments and we're quiet and our head is driving us crazy, you can breathe to bring you back to center. You can stop and listen. The other day, I was telling a friend the other day that I spend a lot of time listening. And I have this little tree frog in my garden area on the back, and I have these planters that have a tube going down into a water reservoir. And I have this little tiny green frog who lives in one of those little earth boxes, they call them, all summer. And he'll come up to the edge of that little tube and he'll look out at me. And I've taken pictures of him, and he chirps. He's got this really sweet little chirp. Well, and I listen for his chirp. So when it was raining, oh, he was singing. Oh, he was so happy it was raining out there the other day. And so anyway, I just listened for him. And I have this little hummingbird that sits on, it's a tomato cage that sits out there in my garden too, and he likes to sit on that little tomato cage. So all of a sudden I heard this chirp, and this message came through and said, I can reach you because you're listening for my chirp, but the hummingbird wants you to fill up the feeder. And I'm like, oh my God, I've got to run. But all of a sudden I was so charmed by how Spirit works that I would understand that this little message would be sent through, because all that is, I'm connected to all there is, right? So that this message could come through so that I could take care of that little hummingbird. It was so cute. So when we find ourselves in dilemmas, you know, as a hairdresser, I have spent time in Los Angeles. I worked 10 years before I moved up here, and I've heard lots and lots of stories throughout my life about people and some of the things that they've done. And I know many of us are worried about what's happening with the Syrian refugees as they're trying to find their way to a better life. And we're worried about that for them and praying for them, and all of that is good. But I have to say that as I've listened to some of the stories that I've heard throughout my life, that one of the things that makes me so humble, especially one particular man, was Pakistani, and he had walked 150 miles with his 3-year-old and 5-year-old child to Turkey when there was war in Pakistan, in order to seek asylum here in the United States. And that was his message, his gratitude. So when I hear stories of refugees and what they've gone through and the kinds of hideous situations that they've endured, they only talk about the good. They only talk about how our things are so great here, how they're so grateful that the war happened so that they would be launched into doing this thing that would bring their children a better way of life. So it is so brilliant to talk to people who've traveled, who've been there. The stories, that's part of my dilemma, is that there's always more to the story. It's not cut and dry. It's not black and white. There's lots and lots of shades of gray. And we can't be so quick to stand in judgment of what somebody else has gone through because we haven't walked in their shoes. I am very, very, very grateful that I went through the childhood that I did, that I experienced all of the crud that I did, because I am the person standing before you that I like. And if I hadn't had all of those experiences, I wouldn't have sought the spirituality that I have now. I wouldn't be thinking in the now. God knows. The therapist said, you know, most people like you, Jenny, have been through what you've been through, are either drug addicts, alcoholics, or in prison. People don't make it out like you do. And I am deeply, deeply grateful. I'm deeply grateful that I'm here in front of you sharing my stories. But I'm grateful I went through what I went through because of what I did with the information. I must. God's blessed me with a teeny bit of wisdom. Not that, because of what I did with the information. So our changelessness, we can always, always seek it. It's always right here, right now. And you can stop suffering by telling your ego to shut up and sit down. Just breathe and acknowledge what it is that you have in your life that you're grateful for. I've sat in Native American roundhouses during sweats and stuff and listened to the prayers of men who were grateful they were alive, grateful that they could walk, grateful that their hands worked. There is always something, regardless of the kinds of crap you're dealing with, that you can find to be grateful for. And that just spins you right out. It spins you right out. And it gives you hope. And it helps us to trust, doesn't it? It helps us to trust that there's more to the story. We are loved. We're absolutely dying. We're infinite beings. And all we have to do is just be present with it. That's where it is. Thank you.